Calls to rename one of the city's main arteries are apparently being heard after a petition was launched to look at the history of Dundas Street and its namesake's connection to the slave trade. The online petition calls for City Council to begin a public process to rename the east-west corridor to honor a more appropriate person, place, or event. Henry Dundas was a Scottish politician in the 18th century and is known for delaying the abolition of slavery in the British Empire.
One needs only look around at so many of the changes happening in the world today, as particularly with regard to statues, monuments, and yes, street names as well, to see that things can be done quickly.
The history of Dundas Street can be traced back to the 1800s in the West End of Toronto, before being extended across the city in the 1950s. There have also been calls to remove a statue of Dundas atop the 45-meter Melville Monument in Edinburgh, Scotland, for years.
I have asked our city manager, Chris Murray, to form a working group of city staff from all relevant departments, including the Confronting Anti-Black Racism Unit and the Indigenous Affairs Office, to examine this issue broadly. Renaming a major street or public space does create many practical challenges, but we should have a process that can examine what are very important and relevant historical questions, along with all of the practical matters involved if such changes were to be made.
The petition now has thousands of signatures and asks that the renaming process involve Black-led organizations and historical societies. Tory has asked that the group that is being formed here at City Hall to report back in 30 days. Now, it's not like this hasn't happened before. In fact, recently, back in March, Russell Street here in Toronto, named after slave owner Peter Russell, has actually been given the go-ahead to be renamed after Ursula Franklin. She was a scientist and researcher at U of T for 40 years before passing away in 2016.